Let me take a time to say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Let's say good morning also to those of you viewing GBN TV. Whether you're viewing Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20, good morning. Our social media audience, let me say good morning to you also. Whether you are via our Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Friday, the 17th day of January, 2025. I'm your host, GT, and with me this morning, I have some representatives from the Inland Revenue Department. Of course, we're talking tax this morning. If I could just use a simple way of saying it, we're talking taxes in general. That's what we're speaking about this morning. So let me say good morning to my guests. I mean, I'm worse with names. That's so. Let me see if I get the names right. We have Mr. Randy Cadet with us this morning, and also Joel Johnson.
Hi,
good morning to both of you gentlemen. Welcome. Happy New Year, I should say, right?
Yes, thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you indeed. Happy New Year to you and your entire audience. Good morning. Happy New Year to you.
All right. I think we had this conversation of this similar to this nature sometime early last year.
Yes, we did.
Sometime early last year we had that. I think I had both of you gentlemen in studio talking. So we're talking taxes this morning. I want to start the conversation by talking about the importance of taxes in general. Okay, you know, there are probably individuals out there who are listening and thinking, why should I be paying taxes?
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. Why is it necessary for me to pay taxes? And you know, I'm working probably, but I think I'm working and I'm working. That's basically it. Mm-hmm. And so why is the importance of me having to pay taxes? So I'm not sure which one of you two will decide to jump in on this and share. I mean, maybe it could be brief. If it have to be extended, we'll go ahead brief on it. But the importance of paying taxes in general.
Well, GT, thank you for that question. I think it's a very good place to start a conversation. And perhaps, Joel, that question might be on the hearts and minds of many Grenadians.
Oh yeah.
I'm so happy that GT, started off the conversation with that question. But essentially, taxes provide the revenue for the government, our government, to fund its expenditures, to fund some investment projects, and to essentially pay its bills.
Yes.
The question actually is asking Grenadians, if I am living in this country, what contribution can I make to see that my country prospers? What contributions can I make to see that the roads are fixed, that we have better healthcare services, that the teachers are paid, that we make investments in things that are transformational, things that can impact lives?
Yes.
And when you pay taxes directly to the state, that's where the money is supposed to go.
All right. You want to follow up on that in any way?
Excellent. No, I think Mr. Cadet answered the question excellently. The one thing I'm just going to add, and he did say it, is that when you pay taxes, it's not just pay, you're actually giving a contribution. Yes, so you're contributing to something that's in return is going to benefit you in the long run. He mentioned the roads and so on. We know we have our healthcare system that person says isn't perfect. Of course, we know it's not perfect, but of course, with all the tax dollars going into it, then we would not even have a healthcare system to begin with. So think about education, think about healthcare, think about the social services provided, think about the police force, think about the prison officers that has to be maintained. So paying taxes is essential for a developing country, especially one as always as Grenada. As we know, we could see exactly where we projectively want Grenada to be in the next few years. Then it makes paying the taxes or contributing to a tax system more so important.
And someone will spin the question around and say, no, if they want to be controversial about it, say, what are my taxes being used for? Well, the taxes that I pay and I supposedly pay, what are my taxes being used for? Well, you did highlight some of it. But we'll say, what are my taxes being used for? So I'm paying taxes, but what are my taxes being used for?
It's a question we get all the time. I mean, when persons, like get a pay slip or they have to file a return and they see the amount of money that they are contributing directly to the state, we get that question a lot. Okay. So we tend to pause and we say, take a stop and look around the country to maintain the roads, to pay our public servants, to provide social safety nets for those who are vulnerable. These are where the monies are going.
Yes.
To ensure that we have facilities for our sportsmen, our sportswomen to practice and to train. To ensure that we are giving good service at our hospital. That's where the money is going.
That's where the money is going.
Okay. Now, being tax compliant is also very important.
Oh yeah.
Being tax compliant. I'm talking about from the regular citizens who are doing their jobs
Yes.
to the business places out there. Of course, being tax compliant. The importance of individuals being tax compliant. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, GT, this is a year that IRD, we deem this year to be the year of compliance.
Yeah.
When we talk compliance, we'll go through those areas in a while. We're talking about registration, we're talking about filing, reporting, and paying. We want to really change the tax culture of Grenadians. We want to live in a society where persons can voluntarily comply with the tax laws. So tax compliance, as I said, this is the year of compliance. It's a big deal for us. We have our compliance strategy. We already introduced our compliance strategy to the staff. We are currently looking at ways to make it effectively work. And very soon, you will hear more from us as we continue to unroll. I mean, during this period of the interview, we will give you some snapshots into what is inside that compliance strategy. But for this year, tax compliance is a big thing because we believe that the more compliant the nation is and will be, the more revenue we can collect.
Oh, yeah.
So, and of course, we believe that persons will be compliant if we provide the education.
All right.
So this is one of the first interviews we're going to have with you for the year.
All right.
In fact, it's part of our communication plan to engage you, engage media, engage the public on all our initiatives. Everything get towards improving the compliance rates among our different tax types and among our citizenry.
How does it start for the regular person in terms of getting their compliance level up to it? But how does it start? I guess it starts from getting registered one. Let's talk about that.
So the compliance, basically, as Mr. Cadet said, compliance has three main arms.
Yeah.
The first one is registration, of course. So we need to know who our taxpayers are. We need to know who all our business persons are. And when we say registration, that means you need to be registered into the tax system. I'm going to pause on registration just a bit and try to go slowly. Especially for the business individuals. Persons are of the notion that I have a registration certificate and I am registered.
And it stops there.
And they stop. Some of them think that they stop right there. But news for you, sorry, it doesn't stop there. So that's like the first step in registration. When you get the certificate, what that certificate basically says is registration of business names. So for example, I could be in secondary school and have a wonderful business name idea in my mind, and I could register that name. But I'm not operational. I have a certificate just to confirm that this name belongs to me. But when I do intend to start operating my business, then it is important for you to ensure that you are registered with the Inland Revenue for tax purposes. What the Tax Admin Act basically says is, once you operate a business for more than 30 consecutive days, you need to be registered with the IRD. And again, many persons, they don't consider what they're doing as a business. They may say, oh, it's just a small shop I'm running, it's just this. But once you're providing a service to individuals and you're getting paid for that service, essentially, based on the definition in the Tax Act of a business, you are conducting a business. So whether you're a professional, a doctor, and you're providing medical services, you're seeing patients, that's a service. You're a physiotherapist and you're assisting persons go through their recovery, that is a business. You have a shop and you're trading in small goods, that's a business. You have a bus and you're driving around selling drinks and Pampers and sodas, that's a business. You are making seasoning vegetables in your garden and you're processing it to make seasoning to sell, that's a business. So basically almost anything you do for trade can be classified as a business. So again, first step of compliance, make sure your business is registered. Step one, you have to first go get the business name registered at Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Office. From that point, you will decide if you are registering as a sole trader. That means you are the only owner, the sole person for that business. Or you could register it as a partnership. Maybe you and two persons or you and three persons register a partnership to operate together. Or it could be a company. You could incorporate and have a full-fledged company. It could even be a trust fund. Different things you could do in terms of registration. So once that is done at KIPO, you then come to the Inland Revenue. We have specified forms, and so that you will fill out based on the type of business that you are registering, and you will be assigned a tax registration number.
All right.
Now, when you have a tax number, that's when you know, okay, yes, I'm fully registered. Now I have my tax number, and then then the next step will be for you to do your filing and your payment. We're going to talk about those a little later on.
All right. Type of taxes also.
Just to add, we have a rule of IRD to kind of reduce the size of the informal sector.
Okay.
And by person registering the business name and continue the process to register for tax purposes, you are moving from the informal sector to the formal sector. Why is that important? We should be in a position as a country to be able to measure the efforts, the contributions, directly and indirectly, by all those who are able and liable to pay.
Indeed.
So, for example, our GDP numbers, we believe that our GDP numbers are grossly understated.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of economic activities that are taking place outside there that we're not capturing. So we have a responsibility to kind of lessen or reduce the size of the informal sector and bring more persons into the formal sector. In fact, when you have more persons contributing to our revenue, the amount that you, Joel, me, Grenadians, individually, the amount that you are paying can sufficiently be reduced. Because as you expand the tax net and you make your revenue neutral, government now will have the impetus to reduce tax rates where they can. But for that to happen, more persons must contribute to the pool.
How do they plan on doing that in terms of pooling all these individuals who are doing these small businesses here and there and possibly not contributing in any way at all? How are they plan on doing it? It's 2025.
Yes, indeed. So you're speaking directly into compliance strategy. So registration, for example, and Joel could add value. We understand that there are a lot of Grenadians right now who are advertising their trade, advertising their vocation, advertising their profession online. So our registration officers, at certain hours during the course of the day, as part of their work plan, is to go on the computer and search those persons out.
Okay.
So whether you do a Facebook search, or Instagram, whatever social platform people are advertising, we start in there. We will look at our system to see if the business is indeed registered. If the business or businesses are not registered, then we'll make a phone call. We'll contact you as if we are a customer looking for business. We contact you, we know who you are. We say to you, well, based on our investigations, you are not registered for tax purposes. We are giving you 14 days to regularize that.
All right.
Failure to do that, and let me be very careful here. Failure to do that, we will use the laws and issue you a fixed penalty notice for failing to register. So it's important, Grenadians, to understand what are your requirements. We want to see businesses thrive. We want to see Grenadians use their entrepreneurial skills and grow, invest, make money. But when you do that, you also have to remember that you are living on a piece of rock called Grenada. That is a society and it's also an economy, and we need your contribution as well.
So you have to pay your fair share.
Indeed.
And I think, and that's key, as you mentioned, your fair share. In taxation, we want to be fair in everything that we do. And it's unfair if myself and Mr. Cadet sitting next to each other here now, let's just assume that we're both in the same sector, we're both earning, let's say we're both earning the same thing. It's going to be unfair if I'm paying and he's not paying, or he's paying, I'm not paying. So this is essentially what we want, because we do know that there are businesses out there who are not paying anything, they're not registered, and their colleagues who might be in the same sector as they are registered and paying their taxes. So this could never be fair. This is why we take this thing so serious in terms of registration and what we do, to ensure that we try our best to close in on that informal sector, as Mr. Cadet said, and get everyone in the net. A few things that we would have been doing over the years, persons may have noticed, even at the customs and even the different mail courier ends, if you're constantly or regularly importing a particular good and they see that this is a regular pattern and the amount you're importing is definitely not for your personal use, that courier or that customs officer would require you to ensure that you do have a tax number before you can clear those goods and services. So we have it from those ends also. For example, also if you're going to the bank and you're going to get a business loan, that loans officer is supposed to check and see, okay, your business is operating, you asking for a business loan to extend your business. Can I see your last business filing, your last tax filing, or your registration letter to confirm you are registered. And we've been doing that over the years, and that has indeed helped.
Yeah.
If you are a contractor and you try to do some government project and you want to bill the government of Grenada for services, we would not pay you for services unless you are paying us your taxes.
Yeah.
So we've been doing these things over the years, and that has indeed closed in a bit on the informal sector. So we have quite a bit more contractors registered now. We have quite a bit more service operators registered. We have quite a bit more professionals registered, but we are still a long way off. And I always tell persons, you too can help. So you too, GT, you can help also.
Yeah.
And you're asking, well, how can I help? So you can help in so many ways. If you go to a store and they are refusing to issue your receipt,
That's right.
and that might be a clear sign that they are not registered and they don't want to keep a record of their revenue, of their income. If you go to a professional, you go to a doctor, a lawyer, and they're not giving you a receipt, and they tell you, oh, we're charging you VAT, and you don't see a VAT receipt, you don't see a VAT registration number, that might be a clear sign that they are not registered. So what you could do, you could demand, you could ask them, say, it is my right to get a receipt from you, I'm paying you for this service, I'm demanding a receipt. If they don't give you a receipt, you could quietly inform the IRD, we're not going to tell them your name. You could just come to us, come to the division, you can send us an email, a call. We're going to give persons different means in terms of communicating with us, those things in the future. But you tell us about it. We're going to look into it, as Mr. Cadet said, we're going to look into it discreetly, and once we see that person continues to not be registered, then we could issue them a fixed penalty fine. And by the way, that fine is $2,500.
Well, I was going to get in terms of the penalty and so forth. That was our conversation I want to have, because I want to know, how does it get to the stage when penalties will be implemented? How does it get to that stage?
So like I said, the law says you are required, you're allowed 30 days to operate a business without being registered. Yeah. So essentially, what the law leaves open is once you've been operating for over 30 days and we are aware, you could be charged a penalty. But like Mr. Cadet said, in most cases where we find out that you have been operating, we will give you 14 days to come in and regularize yourself. Come in and get everything registered, organized. If that 14 days elapsed and it still don't come, we say, okay, well, we offer you grace, we give you time, so no, we will give you the penalty.
But there are people doing that for years, right?
Yeah. And then what has been happening, I mean, we understand that the amount of sectors that we have in Grenada is vast.
Yes.
People are involved in all kinds of different business activities. So we have looked at the data, because we are trying to build a data-centric organization where we are not making decisions based on how we feel, but based on what the data is saying to us. So part of our compliance strategy, we have identified some critical sectors that for years we believe, based on the data, that they have not been registering, they have not been filing. So, I mean, I will not disclose here.
That's understandable. Yeah.
During the course of the year, perhaps we might come out and say, well, we are doing this in this particular sector, so that the nation can be informed. Because I said, we want to provide an education to people. So you may get a call based on where you are working and the sector. If a sector pops up on our radar, based on our risk matrix, you might get a call from Inland Revenue from today. When you receive that call, we expect you to respect and honor that call. Whatever request that we are making of you to come in to regularize, come in to register, come in to file, please do so. Failure to respect and honor the requirement of the Inland Revenue, you might find yourself in a very uncomfortable position. All
right. We drew for a break, gentlemen. Let's take that break. When we come back, I want us to talk a wee bit about the type of taxes of it. And I think it's important that folks know that the type of taxes that they should be compliant to and so forth when we come back. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back. Don't touch it down.
Grenada is indeed beautiful and worth exploring. We firmly believe that you should be allowed to do so. Why not explore Grenada with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours? Whether you decide to explore Grenada with your family, spouse, or large group of friends, we are ready to welcome you. Our tours are guaranteed to leave you with wonderful memories of Grenada if you are visiting, and excitement if you live here. Book a tour with us now by visiting our website www.jamessvcs.com. Call 1473-442-3769 or email info@jamessvcs.com. James Services Corp Off-Road Tours.
I am Dennis James Williams, owner and director of James Services Corp. Looking forward to welcoming you to the beautiful island of Union to explore with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours. See you soon.
Explore our beautiful island of Grenada from an angle that is unique and off-road, but equally fun. We are 100% family-friendly tours.
Grenadians, the National Celebrations Committee invites you to celebrate the next 50, embracing a future of development, transformation, and unity as we ready ourselves to mark the Grenadians' 51st anniversary of independence. On February 7th, 2025, activities include the Independence Monarch Competition semi-finals, January 25th at Lassages Playing Field, with the final carded for Saturday, February 1st at the Sutters Bus Terminal. National Church Service, February 2nd, 3 p.m., Crossroad RC Church. February 6th, National Colors Day, Inter-Ministerial Competition and Independence Cultural Extravaganza from 7 p.m. at the Grenfell Bus Terminal. And on Friday, 7th, it's the grand finale at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium, the Independence Day Rally, Military Parade, and Made in Grenada Expo. Let's all celebrate in true Grenadian unity, the anniversary of our 51st independence.
Grenada is such a beautiful country.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point, your classic radio, GBN TV. Good morning once again to those of you via our social media platforms. Good morning and welcome back. Let me say welcome back, of course, to my guests this morning. We have, of course, Joel Johnson and Randy Cadet with us this morning. Both are from the Inland Revenue Department. And before the break, I was talking about type of taxes. I know there will be individuals that will want to have an idea of that, the type of taxes. How your compliant level rules and also that threshold for individuals having to pay taxes. I want to get a little bit of an explanation on that. But first, let's hear about the type of taxes that are available within the of course,
Inland Revenue. All right, good. So at Inland Revenue, we administer and we collect a wide range of taxes. I'm going to start from the most popular one that most people may know, personal income tax. So personal income tax, that is the tax based on your income or your salaried income. So persons who pay income tax or persons whose monthly salary exceed 3,000 EC per month, or your annual revenue, your annual salary exceeds 36,000 EC per year. So once you're earning within that bracket as a salary, then you should be paying income taxes. So my friends out there, if you know you are earning as a salary over 3,000 EC per month and for the year over 36,000 EC, and you're not contributing to the Grenada tax system, then I will say this with the voice of my old principal, you are doing wrong.
But why would someone not be paying their taxes if they know they're making $3,000 plus somewhat, or $3,000? I guess that's a threshold that you should be paying your taxes.
That's a threshold you should be paying. So as Mr. Cadet said earlier, we have an informal sector. So the sectors who are registered and are compliant and who we know, then they deduct the salary compulsory from the employee's salary on a monthly basis, and they pay it in. But there are some sectors out there who, for want of a better word, they may not be too sure or understanding the tax system too much, or they might be under the radar in one area. So of course, the employee's income will also be under the radar, so they are not remitting. So even if you're an employee and you see your employer has not been deducting your taxes, you could request it of them nicely. Say, listen, I noticed you've not been deducting my income taxes within the income tax threshold, and as a Grenadian citizen, a proud Grenadian citizen about to celebrate 51 years of independence, I'm requesting that you deduct my taxes and pay it into the government. This is the correct thing to do. Of course, if they don't do it, then you could inform us.
Yeah, on that
but you
point,
can come in yourself and make the necessary.
On that point, it's important for employees to request of the employers a copy of their salary slips.
Yes.
Every month you are getting a salary, ask the employer, please, can I see my salary slip? Because we have cases where taxes are deducted from persons not being aware, because perhaps they're not paying attention to what's on the salary slip, and then when time to file now, they say, well, how come I have to pay all that, and then we have a big problem. So we want to impress upon persons, especially employees, if you are employed and the employer isn't paying you your salary, please ask of your employer monthly salary
On the
slips.
salary slips. Yeah.
So let's
And
continue the type
we're
of
in the
taxes.
21st century. Those slips can be emailed. It can be electronic slips. Yeah. So that was income tax in a nutshell. That's one tax type that we spoke about. Another one that we want to speak about is the one that almost every business has to pay. It's called annual stamp tax. So annual stamp tax is a tax that is charged on your gross revenue. It's not on your net. It's on your gross revenue of your business. And again, I wanted to make this point earlier, and I think this has been maybe a reason why persons are reluctant to register, and especially the small business owners, because they think if I register, I automatically have to pay taxes. But no, that's not the case. Currently in Grenada, for your business to be paying taxes, you have to also be grossing over $36,000 a year. So that is $3,000 a month in sales for your business, sales revenue, whatever you want to call it. So for the year, if your business is grossing under $36,000 a year, you will not have a cent to pay the government of Grenada. But what we want you to be registered, and we want you to file, we want you to tell us how much your business made for the year. This is excellent information for us, for our reporting modules and for our reporting standards. It helps us calculate all different things that we will need. So even if you made $20,000 a year, it's important for us to get that information. So when we are doing our reports, we can check. We say, okay, for these sectors, we have 10 sectors in the tourism industry, and they all earning just $20,000, $15,000. That's going to help us. As a country, we need that type of data. So even if you do not have to pay, and again, I'm going to repeat it, you only pay taxes or stamp tax when your gross revenue for the year is over 36,000 EC. If you're under that, you don't have to pay a cent. But we are asking you, please, to ensure you are still registered and you file your taxes every year as a business individual. Do your obligation.
Joel, you forgot an important point. I mean, you're paying less than a percentage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't give the rate.
The salary is under 300,000, you pay 0.5%. And if it's over, you pay 0.7%.
Yeah.
I mean, less than a percentage. And the minimum tax is $100.
$100.
I mean, divide 100 by 12. On a monthly basis, $8.
Yeah,
a month.
$8 and cents.
So, especially the small business people, at least you can pay $8 a month to the government, at least.
$100 a year. And it might sound as a small amount, but even at $100, if we have 25,000 businesses, each of them paying $100, that's going to go somewhere. It's going to help something. And even further to that, Mr. Cadet, what we didn't extend is that although the stamp tax rate is low, like you said, is 0.5% if you're grossing less than 300,000, 0.7 if you gross over 300,000, the government still gives you 9 months to pay off the stamp tax. So when you file your stamp tax in March every year for what you would have done the previous year, so for example, let me break it down. For example, now we're in 2025. Businesses have up to March 2025 to tell us, to report to us what a business would have done from January to December 2024. After you give us that information before the 31st of March, we still further say, listen, if you don't have all the money now, we give you up to December 2025 to pay from what you earned last year.
So you can spread out that payment.
You can spread it out into 9 monthly installments. But as Mr. Cadet said, the rate is so small, most persons pay it off. Rather than splitting $100 into 9 months, you might just pay it. But at least the law allows that. So the stamp tax rate, it is 0.5% for businesses who are earning over 36,000 a year, but under 300,000 a year. And if your business is earning over 300,000, your rate for stamp tax is 0.7%, which is less than 1% in taxes. So persons really shouldn't be complaining about the tax rate in Grenada for busineses. You pay a very competitive rate.
It is doable for businesses, and as you said, if 25 to 30,000 businesses decide that they want to do that, it could be that added revenue.
That's a stamp tax, the next one we're going to speak about is value-added tax. I think that's one that persons are aware of, persons are familiar with. The VAT, because you get VAT to the supermarket, you pay VAT on your service charges, you pay VAT on accommodation, which, by the way, accommodation VAT is 10%, but the regular VAT on your goods and services is 15%. So value-added tax is out there, but this is one that we want people to be cautious with, as usual, as I mentioned earlier. If anyone is charging you VAT, ensure that they are obligated to give you a receipt that shows their tax number. It shows you how much VAT they are charging. It has to be clear on the receipt. Another thing that we're not going to be too firm on it now, but they're supposed to have a VAT certificate on display at the place of business. The reason why I'm saying we're not going to, because we're in the process now of transferring to a new system, and we are still giving the businesses their new VAT certificates. So some of them may not have it as yet, but what they should have is to ensure that they give a receipt. So VAT, you're paying VAT. Customers, we pay VAT. We pay VAT to individuals who provide a service to us, and in turn, they will remit that VAT to the government of Grenada. before the 20th of the following month, the 20th day of the following month.
Okay.
And just to give my insight into this, I mean, again, documentation. Canadians, you have to look at your receipts. You have to look on a receipt for an item called tax or VAT. Because chances are the person that you are paying the VAT to may not be registered.
Okay.
So we have had cases, real cases, where customers who care about the state will call and say, well, this person charged me X amount in VAT, but I didn't see their certificate up. We will check the system and realize that person was not registered to do so. We right away send our officers out, or we make a phone call and we let them know that you are in the wrong. Please come and fix that. We may sound a little bit intense this morning. I mean, because this year, I mean, compliance is a big deal for us, and there are some areas of some slippages, and we want to this year at least try to close those gaps.
Yeah.
You know, if we are serious about developing this country, we have to ensure that our compliance rates are high among all tax types and among all taxpayers who are liable to pay the VAT. So if you find that the conversation is a bit heavy, we are talking tax. It's not a very sexy topic, but it's a very important topic because this is where we live in and we have to develop this country.
All right.
Just to further extend what Mr. Cadet said, and this is why we're passionate about this, because we believe in equality and fairness across the board. And sadly, we have some individuals, and this is why we are insisting that you ask for your receipt, especially when you charge VAT. There are some individuals who will charge you VAT, but on the bigger sales, they will not enter it into the system.
Yeah.
So at the end of the month, when they're reporting their VAT to the government, they're reporting only what's entered into the system. So whatever they did not give receipts for, that may never have been entered into the system. Yeah. So GTD may have charged you a good $300 VAT on a particular service that you would have done somewhere.
And you as a regular customer have no clue of what's taking place or what is taking place.
But they take VAT from you. And when they're reporting to us, they never report that VAT because you never got a receipt, so it's nowhere in the system, no record, no proof, because they did a cash sale, they paid with cash, and that's gone.
But it's a little bit odd for every customer who purchases and pay their VAT to pay attention to VAT. Although you say this is good that you should, you know, but not everyone will just collect their receipt. If they do collect it, just go thinking, well, it's a norm, or it's normal that they do that. You understand? And not everybody will know that business is not being compliant in terms of sending in the correct information. Not everybody will actually know that.
And another thing, and again, I mean, I like our compliance strategy. Persons may not know, right? But you see, auditing, it's part of the critical function of inland revenue. So the taxpayers who file and pay, we hear you, we see you, we accept. But we don't close our eyes. We send our auditors. Risk profile again. So we have some sectors that we will make sure that we have everything in order. Our auditors will be doing their job. So this month you might pay $300, next month $300. Every month we are getting the same amount, and you're involved in a fast sale industry.
It's a bit of a red flag.
That's a red flag. So our auditors will be on your case.
Yeah.
Our auditors will be on your case. So we have ways of voluntary compliance. We welcome that, and that is what we want to see. We want people to come forward and willingly, voluntarily pay their fair share. But in cases where, based on our risk matrix and based on the criteria that we use, we have some red flags, and we'll send our auditors. And of course, we have some collection officers as well. And we send outside for those delinquents, you know, or non-compliant taxpayers, to use a softer term.
Yeah. All right. And as you said, soft, I mean, we're still, although we might be sounding a bit firm this morning, we still have a soft side. So we wouldn't shut down your business because you haven't paid us or because you were not paying them the VAT. Most of the times we would work along with you. We would look at your business revenue, we would look at how you're functioning, and we want your business to continue operating. Yes. So we do payment plans. We do different things, and so you could pay us over a period of time. But what we are insisting on is that you do what is right, you register, you file, and make sure that you pay. All right. These are the three main things we want.
All right. So we talk about, of course, we stopped at the VAT. Any other taxes that we should adhere to?
All right, so I'm going to speak briefly about the corporate income tax. So this one represents the tax on the profits of companies. Similar to income tax, they will be paying on the profits of the business. So you pay 28% on your business profits.
All right.
Yeah, and we forgot, Joel, the professional licenses.
Yeah, we wanted to speak about licenses today. It's important to speak about it. I'll let Mr. Cadet start and I'll
there are a lot of professionals that we have, and the law sets out the list of professions. In fact, I think sometime last week we sent out via social media the list of professionals that are expected to pay the license. It's an area where we have not been seeing much compliance. I believe as a country we have to take that particular industry, the professional industry, more seriously. So we're talking about the wiremen. We are talking about the real estate agents. We're talking about the doctors. We're talking about the accountants. A whole list of professionals who are supposed to pay annual licenses to operate in the state of Grenada. We want, especially this year, to see how we can improve on that. If you are providing professional services, you are supposed to pay a license to operate. So persons outside there who may be a professional, they may not know what is the amount that you have to pay. You can contact us. Again, we'll perhaps do a resubmission of that particular flyer where we list those items and the cost involved. If you are a professional, please, pay a license to operate.
It's important for you too, from a business point of view, to show that you're licensed and you're registered and in order to conclude your business successfully.
In fact, Joel made a point our data, and when we have the data, it can help us make decisions. So government will decide, as I said before, to reduce the threshold for the income tax, or increase the threshold for the income tax, or perhaps extend the exemption for property tax. But the data must influence those decisions. So as far as possible, we want persons to provide information to us. Part of our compliance strategy as well is to touch base and interact with our third-party suppliers. So we have some government agencies. We'll partner with some non-government agencies. So, for example, the Banking Association, the Real Estate Association. We'll touch base with those bodies that were set up to help us improve the close our compliance gap. So, one of the first things that we'll do, starting from next week, is issue some letters to some key associations. Can you provide us a list of all of your members? We will get that information, check it with our system. If persons we know are operating within the state doing X, Y, or Z, and they're not on that list, not in our system, of course, we'll have to bring you in. So there will be a conversation, of course. And as you said, although we are so intense, we still have to merge.
What if someone challenges that in terms of the legality of it? I'm just trying to
the law is clear.
Because folks will be thinking along the line, well, I'm doing business with someone and they're sending my name in for me to pay taxes. Someone may think of it in that particular way. Or you understand as the Inland Revenue?
That's a very good question. We have had some cases like that. Our Tax Administration Act empowers the Comptroller, the Inland Revenue to the Comptroller, to request information. Right? And persons, when you receive a letter, of course, we'll quote the section in the Act that gives us that authority to request information. Right? And sometimes we get information openly, and then sometimes people just come in and give us information because people kind of seeing something that's happening there and they kind of
and they're not happy about it.
So they bring that.
I want to spend a little time on G-Tax because it's last year was supposed to be functioning fully, and I understand there's still some little hiccups on it. Tell us a little bit about that. When we're going to see that full functionality.
Let me change the tone a little bit. G-Tax, we are excited about that platform. G-Tax, we went with our first go live last year, where we went in with the VAT, we went in the PAYE, and we went in with the monthly CIT installments. We went live, I think, the end of January last year. So we successfully have data from February 2024 to December. The intention was to go fully implementation by end of this month, but because of some administrative issues, we're looking at ways to still improve on the platform. We have to delay that implementation maybe towards the end of March, sometime in April. But G-Tax taxpayers, it is your portal. You can stay wherever you are. You can pay and file whenever you are. Right now, 4 o'clock is no longer the closing time. You have up until midnight if the deadline falls on a particular day to file and to pay. I also want to say to person, because the anticipation was very high, because last year we promoted G-Tax in a very big way. The anticipation was very high for persons to file and pay the PIT. That little green form is popular around this time.
Yes.
We are saying to you, we are apologizing first of all that you are not able to give you that opportunity to file and pay on GTax, the personal income tax. And we also want to say to you, we have another platform, my.gov.gd. If you go on that site, you can pause and go on that site right now. You will see everything, all the services that you can engage in, all the taxes you can pay on that site. It's very easy. In fact, we also prepared a step, about a 10-step process that we are publishing as wide as possible. We want persons, don't come in and don't write on green paper. We want you to go online and interact with the system. It's there to help you. It improves our efficiency in servicing you, and also reduces your time it takes to be compliant.
Okay, lead me to a question. How happy is the non-resident folks using the online services that is available? How happy is it? The folks who are already into it. I mean, I for one uses it a lot. To pay my license and so forth. It takes that burden off for you. You understand? How happy are you to folks on the non-resident?
Very, very happy.
Very happy. We're overjoyed.
Especially with pay.gov. We deem pay.gov to be the people's portal. I mean, it came in the middle of the pandemic. We had to stop everything that we were doing and look for a very efficient way for persons to pay. And it has been very successful. After 4 years of implementation, we are just seeing up in terms of persons making use of the system. We hope that same vigor, that some interest will transfer into GTax. So on the softer side, we will be providing some opportunities for persons when they come into the office to go on a computer, to use their phones, to sign into GTax, to file and pay, and tablet will provide those things where we can. So we are very, very excited about it. I think the future is digital. We don't have a choice but to move with the times, and people have been asking for that. We have had consultation with different groups of persons. They have given us some good feedback so far. Of course, there are some areas where we have to tighten upon. I think we are humble enough to listen to those feedback.
Of course. We
have communicated some of those feedback to our developers, and that's one of the reasons why we are kind of delaying in implementing GTax fully, because we have some little kinks that we have to iron out.
Okay. We drew for a break once again. Let's take it when we come back. We continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio, GBN TV.
Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GBN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GBN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gbn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Of course, with me this morning, we have Mr. Joseph Johnson with us this morning, and also Mr. Randy Cadet from the Inland Revenue Department. In this segment, we also invite, of course, our listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two or a query you would like to get a little bit of feedback on, feel free to give us a call as in this segment. Let's talk a wee bit about filing, the importance of it, filing, before we start entertaining the call. I see the calls are coming, but let's see if we can cover that, and then we take the calls.
This is filing season, especially for the small businesses and the salaried workers. They have up until the end of March to file and declare. When we say filing, we're basically talking about your declaration of your income for the last financial year. It's important that you do that, especially salaried workers. So your employer, for example, your employer will deduct on a monthly basis. The employer will also submit to us what is called an annual pay, where they will say during the course of the year, in this case 2024, I've deducted X amount from GT. GT now will submit his declaration and say, well, during the course of the year, my total income was X, Y, or Z. I am liable to pay 5, but my employer paid 10. Maybe you do a refund. Or in some cases, the employer might be deducting less than what they're supposed to, then you have to come and pay over the counter. So we want person to know that filing is a way of reconciling your accounts, what we receive on your behalf from the employer compared to what you say should be paid on your behalf. So filing is very important. It's one of our compliance type. It also provides information as to what adjustments we can make with our tax system going forward. And we really want person to take the filing very seriously. Don't say, oh, I pay already, or you all have my money already, so there's no need to file. There's a difference between filing and paying, and the law separates two of them. So there are persons who are very compliant when it comes to paying, but they're not very compliant when it comes to the filing. And I want to pause here and discuss refunds briefly. There are some persons who we owe, and not an area that we are very proud of, but there are a lot of reasons why a person may not be getting the refunds in a very timely manner. And one of such reasons is that the lack of filing. So we didn't file for back years, we asked you to file to bring our system up to date so that we can effectively process a refund.
So you may not file for 1 year, but you have back. That's right. That didn't cost you.
That's right.
Great. And there's an option to maybe get some clarification on it. The small individuals who do their selling. For let's say that agricultural individual who's around town with their basket on a daily basis or the back of their truck on a daily basis selling their produce. The importance of them. How crucial is it for them to register and tax it if they do have to?
It's a nuance based on the type of business that they involve. We accept that record keeping might be a challenge for them. Within the Ministry of Finance, I think we are challenged, and in consultations we had with the business community, the request is perhaps we can have a separate regime for those kind of persons involved in those kind of trade. But from a strictly tax perspective, we will look for ways to reduce the compliance costs. We don't want it to be burdensome for those persons to do it. But until such time, you have to at least file and pay your annual stamp tax. So whether you're small, micro, you're expected to have records.
Keep some records.
And in fact, even in financial sector, when you're looking to unlock some funds, some funding, they ask you to provide documentation to justify why I should give you the amount you're asking for. And what we find happening, persons find it easily to provide that information to the credit unions, to the banks. But when it comes to inland revenue,
they don't want to give us.
They can't find it.
And by extension, legally also, the Tax Admin Act demands that all businesses, you must keep your records. Failure to keep records or to have records could result in you being fined also by the IRD. So you must have your records or whether it is on a notebook, GT, on a computer system, or right now, modern times, you have these apps on your phone that can track your invoices and your expenses and your income. So get something, use something, and keep your records. It's going to benefit you in the long run.
We do have our first caller this morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. Let me see if I can explain this quickly because there's a lot, but I wanted to try to be short.
I beg of you to be brief, please.
Yeah, I have a problem with, look, I was working from before 1990. Okay, and then I started working in a place permanently from 1990 to 2016 when I retired. But previously, before, I was paid all my taxes. But when I retire from that company for 23 years. And when I was going home and I got a little lump sum and so, I was charged $54,000 in taxes, right? They told me that I have they charge that money, but then they told me they still telling me that I owe some taxes, and so I got an accountant. We get to the company, we settle up everything. Then they said no that okay, you don't owe no tax, but you because you didn't file and that problem comes. We solved that problem, but up to now, I'm getting paper from the tax office that I am owing tax. I tried the first accountant I had working, and he died. I got another one, and they're still giving me this thing. But all they're saying is, don't worry, you don't know it in the system. Why can't you give us me and other persons a receipt stating, okay, you don't owe any tax from 2014 or 2008 or what till 2005? So we know what's happening. Give us a receipt saying we don't owe no more tax, because I'm getting paper all the time saying that I owe tax, and I'm getting frightened because government could owe you, but you cannot owe government. And they're doing this thing like the person that was there in 2002 know what's going on, and the one that come in 2004 don't know what's going on. Give us some receipt. You have yours on your system, but we have nothing in our hands to say that we complete our tax. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. And I think you get a gist of where the caller was going.
Yeah. All right, caller. Good morning. First of all, let me apologize for your situation. It's very unfortunate for persons who have contributed over the years to be, stressed by operations in the system. So first of all, like I said, we do apologize for that, and we remain committed to trying to resolve this issue. We can issue you a letter. We can issue you something. We call it a compliance certificate to say that you don't owe any taxes for such and such period. But what it is right now, the fact that you are still getting notices, it tells me most likely we haven't officially closed you off. We might still consider you to be employed. So if you are no longer employed and you're retired, you could send us a letter just to update your information. You can let us know if you have a copy of your retirement letter. Let us know, okay, I retired from such and such time, because sadly, everything don't work as smooth as it's supposed to here. You might retire from a particular company in 2018, but in the revenue may never get that information. So our tax system will still have you as an open active taxpayer when you already retired years ago. So give us some information, send us a letter, address the letter to the comptroller. Please ensure you put your email address and your contact number on it, and we will look into this matter for you and offer you a response, and hopefully we can try to resolve this. We do not want to frustrate you further after you would have worked all these years and contributed to our system. Thank you for your service.
For the next caller, GT, we have a re-registration exercise that's ongoing. So persons, you can come in and update the database that we have for you. In fact, the law says that whenever your registration status changes, you should inform us. So let us try our best to ensure that we have good data. You can give us a phone call, send us an email, or pop in so that we can make the necessary changes where we can.
Okay, great. Caller, good morning. You're live.
Morning.
Thank you. Go right ahead, caller.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. I'm a registered business owner. I'm paying my taxes. I have a problem when 9 o'clock in the night, they're telling me I have to close. And I could see places like Wall Street and these so-called vendors or businessmen on trucks selling drinks and doing what they want. And I had to close 9 o'clock. What is going on here? And I have my number, everything registered in my place here, and they're telling me 9 o'clock I had to close. How that could be right? Have a good day, my brother.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Response to the caller?
I hear the frustration. Equity, perhaps, in his view, is being compromised. I don't know all the circumstances as to why that's the case, but it's something definitely that we'll take forward. I mean, I'm happy for that view because we are hearing some of the challenges are affecting persons outside there. So, caller, I hear you. We will take the information back. Perhaps some further investigation needs to take place as to why that is taking place, because we don't want to live in a society where some people are getting away with things that they're not supposed to get away. Okay. When we talk about compliance, we want compliance to be across the board.
We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning. Good morning to you too, guys. Just an inquiry. You have revenue offices throughout the island. Do you know the reason why you call those offices sometimes 2-3 times? The phone rings out and nobody answers? That's one. Two, IRD, I think, has a help desk. Does anybody respond to messages sent there, emails sent there? It seems as though they don't, because I have personally sent messages there and it's over 1 year and I have not gotten any response. So, is there someone working with regard to your
I think we lost a caller there.
Yeah. The last question. We heard out that complaint all the time. In fact, we had a consultation in December that came up again. So in last week of December, early January, we did an audit of the help desk email and some other emails we have around, and we've realized, yes, indeed, that we had a lot of unanswered messages.
Yeah.
So we have since put systems in place, divert some resources to address some of those concerns. So, caller, again, apologize for our inability to respond to you in a timely manner. Administratively, we have no choice but to fix that, and we have been putting things in place to address that, because taxpayer service is a very important area for us, and we do not want to compromise our ability to deliver service to our taxpayers. So we will see some improvements in that regard going forward.
Caller, your life. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I just want a quick confirmation. For example, if I'm selling tambran balls or even food, rotis every day, I have to first get a license, then I have to register my name, then I have to register with the Inland Revenue, and then I have to file taxes whether or not I'm making 30,000. So whether over 30,000 or not, whether you're making it or not, you must file the taxes. I want to make sure that these are my requirements. License it, register the name, register with Inland Revenue, file the taxes. Is this required of me for selling tambran balls?
Yeah, it's a small business. I mean, we don't know the value of your receipts or your income, but by virtue of you being in business activity, there is a requirement to register first of all and to file. You may not have to pay, because Joel alluded to the fact that there is a threshold for persons to pay based on the size of their income. Yeah. But for filing purposes, ma'am, yes, you have to file to get the data. And why that is important? We saw the experience with COVID, where a lot of persons lost their revenue streams and they came to the government for assistance. Government must have some kind of system in place. How or who should be the persons that we provide assistance? So, as part of the COVID relief effort, persons had to register their business and get a tax number, and that is how government will help track the amount of monies that they spend. So look at your situation more of a responsibility to file, declare what your income is, but based on the nature of the business, you may or may not have to pay, but you have to file.
Okay. Something just to add, GT, she mentioned that she sells roti. Yeah. So that's food. So that's a whole other ballgame. You will require a certain license also from Ministry of Health. Food handler's certificate and badge. You need to ensure that the place that you're preparing the roti is of a particular standard with the Ministry of Health also. So that's an additional thing that out of the scope of IRD that you also have to ensure that you do with the Ministry of Health. That's another requirement for those who are in the food industry.
All right, we drew for time, and we're probably going to steal another 5 minutes anyway within the next hour. Someone is asking me on WhatsApp. Someone is asking the question: what's the status of the evaluation list for 2024? If you can, think so.
The list went out. Persons can review the evaluation list. I think we have copies of it at our office, and they're supposed to have, not confirm that, supposed to have in the district offices. So the intention here is to provide to taxpayers, population, names, property, location, and the value of the property. As you know, we did a revaluation exercise last year, and we published those values. So persons can check those values there.
Okay. Caller your life. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry I have to call back. But
be brief, please. Be very brief, please.
I'm in the frying pan. I feel in the heat. So what this gentleman explained there, I did this twice already. When we completed, they said the tax office, oh, we just had a mistake, but we owe you $5,000. I ain't getting this $5,000. But the letter is still coming. and I retired 9 years now, and I have my own business operating. So I'm not working with it. I'm working for myself. I do everything, and I still are obligated to all my receipt and everything. So I don't. What the gentleman is saying, that happened 9 years ago, and they owe me $5,000, but receipt still coming. My accountant tried to get them to give me something, but I need a paper saying I don't owe. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you.
Tell them to give us the information off here.
All right.
Going already?
Well, we're probably gonna have him call back. I think.
Okay.
So he's saying that he's here. So what information you want?
We want to take his name, at least name and contact number. When we reach him, we contact him.
All right. I think you could give us just a contact number. Will we get a name from you after?
403-5362, big and bold.
All right.
Call me right now because I have the police.
All right, sir. All right. Thank you.
Come to the office and lock up somebody. Thank you.
All right. Someone is saying via the WhatsApp, they're saying, thanks for the program this morning. Actually, they're saying they would like to suggest a need for the frequent educational program like what we're having now, more for customer service, taxes, governance, and constitution. The NIS, many times consumers do not really know their rights and are fully informed. Every time it's aired, it's better understanding. Knowledge is power, and education is deliverance.
No, we accept that. Very good contribution from the caller, and we have no choice but to educate our taxpayers where we have to, because as I said, we believe that persons can be more compliant if they have the information.
All right. Someone is saying, how do they collect taxes from workers or who businesses are not registered? For example, day laborers, how many of them tools are bought by taxpayers' funds? I'm trying to get a gist of what he's trying to say.
Tools are being bought by taxpayers' funds.
Yeah. So he's trying to say, how do you collect taxes from workers who businesses are not registered? And for example, day laborers, many of them tools are bought by the taxpayers' funds itself. So maybe who they're working for, the tools are bought from that individual. So how do you collect from them? If you get the gist of what the person is trying to say.
I'm not sure we fully understand.
All businesses supposed to be registered. So right away, we are dealing with a non-compliant business person right there. So the employees might be working for a business that is not compliant. So chances are the employees might be non-compliant. So if you are working in a business that you think, and we have cases like that where employees come in and say, well, my employer is making X, Y, and Z, he's involved in this, but I don't think he's registered. We send our officers out. So this is pointing to us being more vigilant, be more aggressive on the ground, trying to pick up as many businesses as possible. Because we don't want a situation where something happens and the employee cannot be given any assistance because the business that they're working for is not compliant.
Yeah. All right.
So employee has a responsibility to help us.
All right. Gentlemen, of course, we get to that stage of the one where we have to take a wrap, but get some closing contributions from you before we take a wrap for today.
Well, yeah, we just want to say thanks for your attention, thanks for the questions, and at IRD, we remain committed to what we spoke about, compliance. I think one thing came out of this meeting today is that the need for more public education. I even saw it coming out in some of the questions that we really need to do education. People need to understand the laws. For example, the question that the gentleman asked about him having to close 9 and other businesses are operating, I think that is directly related to the terms of the Liquor License Act that I think people need to be educated about. Persons haven't been hearing about it. So yeah, as IRD, we remain committed to ensure that we provide a good service to the entire Grenadian population, and what we do is just and equitable at all times. So thank you for your support, and we will continue to support you as you continue to be compliant.
All right.
Indeed, thank you, GT, for allowing us this opportunity to provide that information to our taxpayers. I mean, clearly there's a need for us to do much more of this, and this is speaking directly into our communication plan, where every month, as I said, we plan to come out and bring the information to our people. And what I can commit to you that during the course of this year, you will hear more from Inland Revenue. You will see Inland Revenue more. I mean, we'll have different consultations. And we want persons to come forward with their views, come forward with their ideas. We work with you and we work for you. We are Grenadians as well. As Joel said, we want to ensure that the system is working properly, but we want to continue partnering with our taxpayers. So again, thank you, and continue to work with us.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I want to say thank you also. It's always fruitful information that has been shown once we have been showed you, and I hope that as the year progresses. See more of you coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, 'cause there's always different areas that we still haven't touched as yet this morning that we probably will want to expand on. All right. So until we have another segment, have yourself a good day.
Thank you, GC.
Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point. Join me again on next week for another edition.